High blood pressure is not even like a on the radar because it's constipation, period. I got multiple sclerosis patients walking, working out, riding bikes who couldn't walk, bedridden, wheelchair, walker. They're riding bikes. They're going to spin classes. We're looking at the major things. Mineral deficiencies, the metabolic problems, that's an Esau problem. Diabetes, carbohydrate problem. They took the minerals out of the carbs.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L. Brown, and Caliph Johnson Sr., the one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. My name is Curtis G. Martin. I'm here with my co-host, Rhonda L. Brown.
Hey, everybody.
My second co-host, Mr. Caliph Johnson Sr.
Please, how y'all doing?
And we got the one and only, the Mac, the life coach himself, the form runner.
Appreciate it, Mr. G. You heard me,
Hey, let's get right into it. So, form runner, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. I know we did this once before, but go ahead and let the people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, man. My name is McAfeeThe. Come from a long line of athletes, man, out of Mississippi. Originally from Philadelphia, Mississippi. Was raised between Philadelphia, Mississippi, and New Orleans with my uncle. It's one of those things where I went to a private Baptist college, and I majored in kinesiology. And while I was there at that particular college, in order to graduate from that college, you have to take Old Testament and New Testament. It's because it's like a Bible school. In the midst of that, I was given information by one of my professors that I should pursue a different area of study based on the questions that I was asked. And lo and behold, that particular professor led me down the road of what we call woke people. I got access to books that I otherwise wouldn't have never known anything about, being that I was raised in a house with my stepfather that raised me. He was in the Nation of Islam out of St. Louis. And so I had a basic understanding of self. I had a basic understanding of self, but I still was quite unclear about a lot of things. While I was at that school, they dropped the program, and I ended up transferring to Central Arkansas, where I had a concentration and a minor in nutrition. And while I was there in that minor in nutrition, the ACE, which is a body that certifies personal trainers, came in and offered the university a program to where people that was in the physical therapy department, the nutrition department, they was able to get certified personal training for a reduced cost. And I took that class and got certified as a personal trainer back in 1997. I've been a personal trainer since 1997, but that was always a thing for me that just didn't fit right as an athlete, because I was there on a scholarship. I was a football player there. And a lot of things that they were training and talking about, either in nutrition or in the personal training realm, it just didn't go with what we were doing as athletes. It just didn't fit. So after I left the school and I left the program, I started putting together my own particular programs that allowed me to excel at a rate that was far superior than my peers. And a lot of my peers, they would always ask me, like, what program are you using? What workouts are you using? What diets are you using? What are the different things that you're doing? And I will always tell them that, this is my own stuff. You're not going to find these particular things that I do in the book. I wasn't, because back then we didn't have Instagram and all the things where people can look pretty and do all the drills and show all the different recipes and things that they were eating, So everything that I did was trial and error. The biggest part, Mr. Curtis, of my trial and error was I stayed true to the culture that I came from. The way my grandmother fed me, the way my mother fed me, the things that I did at home, I did at school. And after I had an injury in 1995. I broke my leg, a broken fibula. My leg turned all the way around. They had to put a plate and some screws in my ankle. After that day, going back to the principles that I was taught in my home, I never had another injury. For the next 20 years that I participated in sports, I never had another injury. And when I finished playing sports, I said, well, you know, a lot of people say, bro, you was never hurt. You was never injured. We never seen you lit up. You know, your game was crazy. What was the biggest difference? It was the fact that I never changed anything that was given to me by my ancestors. I ate the same way my mother fed me. I ate the same way my grandmother fed me. I didn't change anything ever. So understanding science, and I understand how society is science-based. They got to have science. They got to have Esau science, or you're not relative, you're not real, things don't really pan out unless it fits into science. Well, here's the thing about science. Science is geared toward Esau. Science is not geared toward you. So the reason why a lot of things wasn't working for me and a lot of other athletes is because we was utilizing the science that wasn't geared for us. Once I recognized this in the early 2000s, I changed everything that I was doing. I doubled the nutrition, I doubled the workload, I doubled everything. And when I doubled everything got better for me, my clients, all of my friends, everybody that was participating in everything that we was doing. So once we figured that out, that's when we started to understand that, and we started to get into the whole Bobby Hemmett, Brother C. Freeman L, Dr. Africa. This is, you talking about 1999, 2000, 2001. So we started getting into the understanding of how melanin is so important, and why melanin and the different, physiological structures of melanin, how to enhance that. That's when we got into that, like 99, 2000, 2001. And we realized that I realized that I was nutritionally deficient, eating the way I was taught in school. So it was nutrition concentration. So the way they teach you to eat in school, that didn't apply to us. And I figured that out early. And once I was able to figure that out, that's when I was able to.
So when you say the way they taught us to eat, do you mean like the 4 food groups?
Yeah. The structure in which they tell us to eat, it doesn't fit it doesn't fit us to maintain health. If you eat the way society and science says to eat, you would decline faster or equal to your counterpart. You're not designed to decline as fast as the rest of the species on the planet. But if I can keep you malnourished, you will decline just as fast as everybody else on the planet. You see? So we was able to figure that out pretty quick, and was able to counteract that by concentrating on nutrition. Once we were able to concentrate on nutrition, no injuries. That's number one. Joints, tendons, ligaments, no tendon problems, no ligament problems, no ACLs, no MCLs, no groins, no other problems. Everything disappeared.
Well,
and it was just basically better nutrition. Just better nutrition, period.
Okay. Working with athletes that are new to your program, like they don't know exactly who you are. Like, how do you even begin to explain like the process of actually getting healthy and being prepared to go out there and compete?
So, because I've been behind the scenes a long time, people don't really realize that I really had a hand in everything that they were doing. If people remember in my early days, 05, 06, 07, I would tell people I don't train people. I train trainers. I don't train people. And because I'm new, in their mind, I have to strike them different. I have to tell them, look, the reason why you're injured is because of malnutrition. Not because of the work, not because of any of the other things you're doing. The fact that you don't get enough nutrition to facilitate the things that you're doing. Most people decline because they don't have the nutrition to facilitate the things that they're doing. People that are playing football, they don't get enough nutrition to facilitate 8, 10, 12 years of football. Baseball players, the same thing. Marathon runners, the same thing. Tennis players, the same thing. The average soccer mom who only goes and run a mile, when she starts developing inflammation, it's malnutrition. And it's just the simple fact that the food don't have the nutrition that you need. So you're going to have to get the nutrition from other places. The thing that I did was I found, as a product tester early on, I worked as a product tester for a lot of different companies. Early on, I found out that the companies were underdosing a lot of the supplements for sales. You'll get a slight bump. You'll feel good, but you won't get enough nutrition to keep you at the level in which you can enhance yourself. So once I found that out, I kind of kept it to myself because of the non-disclosures. But I only did with my athletes. I would over-nutrify my athletes, and as we start to see, and my business partner is Bo the trainer. He's the front guy. He's the face guy. A lot of people know Bo the trainer. A lot of people don't know me because I'm the nutritionist. I was very reserved. I sat behind the scenes, and we built the nutritional programs. We did a lot of things together. But when we figured out that most people were under-nutrified, the first thing we did was started concentrating nutrition. Concentrating the protein intake, for athletes. If you're vegan and you don't eat meats, we have to find other creative ways to concentrate the nutrition. The way to concentrate nutrition in the vegan vegetarian realm is through herbs. Okay. So, but the problem with the herbs, we don't have people that understand how to concentrate the herbs to fit the nutritional deficiencies. They know about the iron, they know about, certain things, but everybody has an iron overload.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an iron overload, and that's creating a problem. Everybody's magnesium deficient. They don't have a proper calcium magnesium balance. Everybody's kidneys overworking. They have a potassium and sodium deficiency. People say, Mac, how can we have a sodium deficiency with all this high blood pressure? High blood pressure has been wrongly diagnosed. It shouldn't be high salt causes high blood pressure. It should be sodium deficiency causes high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a sodium deficiency. So sodium builds blood, potassium makes blood slick. So if you lack potassium and you got so much sodium, you're going to have high blood pressure. So
that's kind of funny because I got to figure out now what I did, because I'm gonna tell you something. I was on the cups of getting high blood pressure, and when I quit eating meat, I stopped the high blood pressure, but I know I started doing something else. So I don't know what that is compared to what you're saying right now. So I don't know what that something else is.
Very easy. It's very, very easy. Very, very easy. Very easy for me. This is going to be so simple. You're going to be like, Matt, man, no. It can't be. The reason why you fix high blood pressure when you stop eating meat, this is going to blow the roof off of everything. Y'all ready for this?
Yes, sir.
They pack meat in salt. If you don't hydrate the meat, you concentrate the sodium in the body. Excessive sodium, no potassium, blood pressure goes up. The instant you hydrate the meat, you pull the sodium out, you don't have to deal with the sodium. You don't have to deal with the hypertension. So people who watch me for a year and watch me hydrate the meat, it is not the meat. It is the prep. Sodium preserves. So they pack the meat and all of animal proteins with sodium to preserve it for shelf life. If you don't hydrate the meat and add water, because sodium and water has an affinity. If you hydrate the meat and pull the sodium out, the meat turns gray. You season the meat the way you like it, because see, there's no carbon dioxide. They'll tell you this. Carbon dioxide, that's a byproduct, right? That's what you breathe out. Mm-hmm. It's waste. That's what they use to keep the meat red. Yeah, when you cook it, the meat turns gray, right? Mm-hmm. But if you fry it, you concentrate the sodium. If you bake it, you concentrate the sodium. The instant you add hydrogen and oxygen that has an affinity to sodium, you pour the salt, the preservatives out of the meat, and you can enjoy the meat without the preservatives. See, everybody was eating meat thinking it was the meat that was creating the hypertension. It was the excessive sodium, because they have carbon dioxide to keep it red, keep the red meat red, and they pack it with salt to preserve it for shelf life. Mm-hmm. Hydrate the meat, get rid of the sodium, no hypertension. So when I came in the game, I knew that this was going to be a problem. So I did it for people. I cooked on film, showed people how to prepare the food. I showed them how to add the minerals back to the food. And I ate these foods every single day. And I took my blood pressure every single day to show people the 177, the 165 over, the different blood pressure numbers. And the second part about that is this is the part that people don't got to understand. Okay. Blood pressure is regulated by the kidneys. Doesn't have anything to do with the heart. Zero. The heart is a pressure regulator. When the pressure gets to a certain point, the heart valves open up, close. It's a pressure regulator. The venous system is a closed system. So you can't alter it. It alters itself based on body pressure. The charge is the oxygen.
Breathing.
What you give the meat when you cook the meat properly, H2O, oxygen. 2 oxygen molecules. 2. So when you prepare the food properly, you don't have to worry about the bones producing excessive amounts of blood, because sodium produces blood volume. Mm-hmm. Sodium produces blood volume. But if your blood is slow from the lack of potassium, why would I want to produce more blood if my blood is already slow?
Mm-hmm.
If I produce more blood, what happens?
Back
Blood
up.
pressure goes up.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been about how we prepare the food. It's never been about the food. When we dealing with Esau, we have to understand he's a cunning bird. He's so tricky. He's so tricky. And he hides it in a very, very, very smart manner, because he institutes the changing of cultures. So we don't prepare the food like Big Mom and them did. We prepare the food for convenience.
Mm-hmm.
When we prepare the food for convenience, we understand that salt preserves. See, so here's the problem. Salt is a preservative, right?
Yeah.
You can't function without salt, because guess what salt does? Salt gives you new blood.
Mm-hmm.
But why? What good is new blood if it's moving this slow?
Slow, sluggish.
You need potassium to make it slick.
Mm-hmm.
See? So the meat was always preserved in sodium. So you would get excessive sodium, not enough potassium to make the blood slick enough.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we prepare the food, it pulls the sodium out, pulls the preservatives out, pulls everything out. So you get really what you designed to get: the proteins, the amino acids, the chains, they're easy to break apart. You ever have something that's so, I don't know, like a lot of people, okay, so for instance, I got vegan clients who are transitioning back to meat. They can't eat meat like we have to. It's a process. It's a step of process. You gotta start with the easily digested meat. But either way, you got to hydrate it, because if you don't hydrate it, you won't pull out the sodium. If you don't pull out the sodium, you're gonna run into a bunch of problems telling the bones to produce new blood. And if the blood is already slow, you're gonna create hypertension. So you have to do it a certain type of way. And a lot of people are educating people wrong because they don't understand the process of how the body works, how your body works. Your body's different. Your body's different. You need more sodium than everybody on the planet. But you also need more potassium than everybody on the planet. So we have to be careful how we transition. And the part that's disheartening for me, for the most part, is that it's prematurely aging our people, because we're not getting the sodium and potassium in balance, nor are we getting the protein in a manner that's so easily digestible that it keeps us youthful. And
so do you have meal plans that you offer that help with that balance, or what type of tests you use, or what do you do?
I don't see that's another thing. I don't sell no products. The reason why I don't sell products is it creates a conflict of interest for my people. Okay? Now, I understand, Mr. Curtis, you're a businessman. I know you about that cake, and I get it. I understand.
No, it's all good.
For me, and I'm with that. I'm 100% because I'm coming to see you. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get our credit, get my credit together. You know, I gotta get my shit together. But for me, the reason why I don't sell products is because all of this information was given to me by my grandmother and my mother, my ancestors, those who loved me more than anybody else. I healed a bunch myself. I suffered from Bell's palsy. I had a lot of different problems growing up that I overcame through that nutrition. No meds, no nothing. Twisted face, had to blink my own eye, couldn't smell, couldn't taste, the whole nine. My grandmother fixed me with neck bones and collard greens. Never understood it. Didn't understand it for a long time until she explained it to me. But I don't sell no products. I teach you how to cook your food for health. What we want to do is we understand one thing. This is what we understand. Shelf life, right? Esau only concerned about shelf life. What can I add to preserve this food long enough to be bought from the shelf? Preservatives are poisons, right? So the best solvent, the best chelator that has ever existed on the planet is water.
So you talk about hydrating your food. Is that an easy process? Is that something somebody's got to book a consultation with you in order to learn how to do it?
You know what, Rhonda, you just because this our audience, I'll give them some free game. If that's okay with y'all, because I know y'all entrepreneurs.
No. We believe in giving value too. So okay. give as much as you feel comfortable with giving.
Okay, so the world's natural solvent is water. Water, regular water. Water is so multifaceted and underrated. You know, people really don't give God enough credit for water. We really take it for granted. And as we started to take it for granted, Esau found a way to
bottle it up.
Sell us something that was the most valuable thing on the earth. Okay, so when I say hydrate your food, right, we understand that Esau wants to preserve the food for shelf life, to sell, to maximize the profits. Okay, all animal products rot. Okay, when you hear vegans, vegetarians talk about McDonald's will put it outside. It doesn't rot. It doesn't grow mold. It doesn't grow anything natural, right? Well, meat rots. So this is the defense for meat eaters. And I'm not either way, because I done did it. I done did them all. I done did it all. I'm gonna have a different understanding, right? So they'll say you eat this meat and it rots in your stomach. Anything that natural, what? Rots. Okay. It rots, right? Why is this meat rotting in your stomach? Because you don't have the natural enzymes to break down the meat for assimilation. Why? The meat over time, because it's filled with byproducts, carbon dioxide, sodium, chloride, which are electrolytes that you need. But you don't need them in the manner that they're in the meat. You need hydrogen and oxygen. Where do you get hydrogen and oxygen?
Water.
In balance. Water. So what you do is you take whatever you're trying to consume, you add hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen and hydrogen displaces the carbon dioxide because it is a byproduct. You displace the byproducts and the preservatives with things that give life. Now, two parts. You got to understand biology. Sodium builds stomach acid. So you have to salt the food. You just don't pack the food with salt. Mm-hmm. So it almost sounds like, okay, I'm pulling out sodium, but I'm seasoning it with sodium. Mm-hmm. That's exactly correct. Because with the sodium in the food, it's bound with byproducts that create cancers. So bologna never gave nobody cancer. What's in the bologna gave somebody cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been the meat. It's always been the process. It's always been the process. So what we do is we cook everything that's preserved, that can be cooked in water.
Is it a special kind of water? You use tap water?
You can't use tap water because here's the thing about tap water. Now you can't. Now let me back up because this you want to give me a free game. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Tap water in years.
So here's the thing about tap water. Tap water has been treated with gases, right? Everybody talks about the drugs in tap water, right? It's not the drugs or the byproducts that's in tap water that make the tap water bad. It's the gas. When you run tap water and you leave it open, the gases evaporate. That's the biggest trick Esau ever played, was to stop you from drinking tap water. It's free. I mean, not free, but it's easily accessible. It comes into every home, but it's the fluoride. It's a gas. Leave it out, it dissipates. It dissipates from the water. It's a gas. The reason why spring waters are so, the reason why spring waters are, everybody puts so much stock in the spring water, it's flowing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When water flows, it breaks up into little particles, smaller particles, and it evaporates. The same thing. The gases evaporate. It's a gas. So that's the reason why, you ever wonder why Big Mama always put that jug of water in the refrigerator with no top on it?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever asked that question. Why you got that pitcher of water in there with no top on it? You thought that it was to get cold faster. It was to evaporate the fluoride. The gases that they put in the water, they dissipate. See, you have to give your mother and father honor. You have to honor your ancestors in order for these things to make sense to you, in order for you to be able to see these things, because we all did it. We all looked at it like, why is this? You look at it now, everything is closed up. Everything is closed up. You got a top on everything. Everything is closed because you think you don't want them to get in it. Well, if you think back in the day, nothing had a top on it. Not even the grease on the stove. Nothing had a top on it.
Damn, that's crazy, because my auntie used to have all them damn Crisco cans sitting around filled with old grease.
No top on it.
Yeah.
No top. You see?
Okay, so go ahead.
No. You got it.
No, because like I know how big you are in the kitchen as far as using the kitchen to actually heal people. Like a lot of people think that it's all into a practice of a doctor going to get your final reading or whatever. Like a person who's trying to start on their journey, like just some simple ways to kind of get them on their path, because I run into a lot of people who have different issues and they all want to go to westernized science and they think that these doctors know it all. But in reality, like you said, it's what your grandma used to teach. It's what your great grandma used to have in the kitchen. Like, how does the person really get back to the root and the essence of that without feeling overwhelmed with how simple it is?
The first thing we got to get over is the traumas. We got family traumas. Somebody then did something to somebody and we got traumas. So the biggest thing is people just want to get away from the traumas. Like everybody in every black family that struggled, every child had a trauma. And the first thing they come to their mind is, I'm never going to live like this when I become an adult. This is hard. Like, I don't like it. Like, everybody got trauma. So the first thing you got to do is you got to get over the traumas. one of the biggest and easiest ways to get over the traumas is to address their traumas. Everybody has told you that you have to go to the person to address the traumas. The trauma is not with the person. The trauma is with you. The trauma is with you. The trauma is not with the person. The person that committed the act, they were just acting in their character. How you receive the act is what troubles you because it left a scar on you, good, bad, indifferent. So you have to address the trauma. The trauma has to be addressed with you. They told you that you have to address the trauma externally. The trauma has to be addressed internally. The only way to address the trauma internally is to see the person that the trauma is affecting. We can't have an out-of-body experience unless we are astral traveling. So the quickest and easiest way to address the trauma is with the mirrors. You do the mirror work. So people hear me talk about the mirror work all the time. The mirror has one job. It is to reflect back what it sees. What you see is what you get. If you are or you have traumas, then what reflects in a mirror is what you get. The only way that you can get rid of a trauma is to get the trauma out of the body, because traumas, they stick with you forever, like memories.
Man, say that
So
again.
you have to get rid of the traumas first. Once you get rid of the traumas by doing the mirror work, you're probably going to need a consultation on that. By doing the mirror work, then it's easy for you to fix you, because then you believe in you. You start to understand that you're the greatest creation that has ever been created. You start to understand that you are definitely your mother and your father's son, your mother, your father's daughter. You definitely start to understand those things. And once you start to understand those things, then you can honor your mother and father. Once you start to honor your mother and father, then you start to understand that you are the sum total of all those who came before you. Your mother's father's mother and father, your mother and father's mother and father, your great, 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 great. You start to understand that you're the sum total of millions of people. If you're the sum total of millions of people that have done millions of different things, then you're limitless in your ability to accomplish things. You're limitless in your ability to maneuver. The magic that I practice is the magic of my ancestors. It has nothing to do with me. It's all those that came before me that I honor. And the things that they did present itself to me in my reality. When people hear me talk about creating your own reality, the reality is created through the words. The words create the reality. But people, they meditate. They pray in silence. There's no vibration. Esau told you that you vibrate in silence. You vibrate, just being quiet. But the instance you understand that you are two entities, those who are hybrids of you, they pray. You vibrate. You vibrate through your words. Your words carry intentions. Your ancestors only understand your vibration. If you don't ever vibrate, then the universe don't even know what to do for you. You want to create a reality that you've never spoken of. You've never vibrated at a frequency that builds a reality for you, because you close your eyes and you bow your head and you make no sound. You don't vibrate at all. So how are you supposed to create something that's stuck in mind that has never been part of a vibratory state? And we know that the universe operates on vibration.
Facts.
Makes it kind of hard.
It make too much sense. It make too much sense.
So,
you know, I'm thinking about how I think they had some music playing, and they had some dirt on like a drum or something, and as this dirt was bouncing, it formed into different shapes. Right, like so. Yeah, it make too much sense.
They've done the stuff. They've done the science on it. They know. So they vibrate. They put sand on, like you said, they put sand on different things, and they vibrate, and it forms snowflakes. It forms different things, right? It is the sound. It is the sound that forms the reality. The sound. What we have to understand is that they're not saying for nothing. They're saying but you're listening to You're not saying Your vibration is never even resonating. You sitting in a class listening to a recording that says and your universe is like, what you want me to do?
He pretty quiet.
This is the trick. And you keep coming back. We just keep coming back because we think we're doing something. Listen, you are the plug. You are. Not me. Not no master teacher. You. Where I'm going to be a problem in this sector is because I empower you to get rid of all those crutches. You don't need nobody else. The only thing you need is your reflection to create everything you've ever wanted. Because everything you ever wanted is for that person in the reflection.
And I'm gonna be honest, when I first heard that, I'm like, you crazy as hell. I'm like, this shit ain't gonna work. But now, look, it's all different now. All the way different.
One of the best stories of all time, bro. Watch.
It's
She don't see it. She gonna be one of the best stories of all time.
You know, some people, they are skeptical. When they get the consultation with me, it sounds foreign. It's supposed to. It's supposed to sound foreign. But it's your ancestors telling me what to tell you. Y'all ain't never seen me with no book. Y'all ain't never seen me with no paper.
We better see you with a book soon.
I mean, my book is different. I'm saying you ain't seen me with no paper, no pen, no nothing, because everybody is different. And everybody's consultation is different. And before I do a consultation with anybody, I tap into them. I spread my consultations out an hour because it takes me an hour to understand the person that I'm going to deal with. And these people, Runna ain't know me from fucking Adam. She comes into this, Leaf ain't know me from Adam. They come into these consultations like with their story. And my rebuttals are just so crazy that they're like, wait a minute. How is this possible? It's because it's not me. It's you. It's not me. It's you. I don't do anything but tell you what you tell me. I don't tell you nothing from a point of view that's coming from me. Because for me, your life is fiction. That's where I get talking fiction from. My reality is severely different than your reality. My life is severely different than your reality. The only thing I want you to do is create the reality that's beneficial for you, because your reality won't benefit me. I come from a different walk of life. So for me to try to walk in your shoes would be a disservice to my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, who gave me this structure that I'm proud of, that I honor every day. When you look in the mirror and you tell yourself you're great, you're not doing you no service at all. You're honoring your mother and father because they gave you the avatar that you carry, that your soul inhabits. That's who you give your credit and honor to. And if they're here, they will create ways for you. If they have moved on to the ethers, then they can do more for you, because now you carry the energy that they had also, and that they parents had, and that they parents had, and that they parents had. So now you become so much stronger. The instant you honor yourself, the instant you honor your mother and father. See, everybody said, man, when they hear me say, man, honor your mother and father, man, you got to honor your mother and father, man. They thinking their mother and father, literally. But you are your mother and father. You are your mother and father combined. All you got to do is honor yourself. That's all you got to do. It's honor yourself, and you honor your mother and father.
That's it. Mac, you make it sound so simple. You really make this shit sound easy, but we know, like, could you talk a little bit about the levels of where your information came from? Could you talk about your grandma a little bit? Like, could you talk about some of the meals you used to eat coming up? Like, just a little bit on how deep this ancestry is. You really giving this information, because you say it's not you. You just channeling it. So,
Right.
like, the levels of this information is deeply woven. And I'm like, man, like, could you talk a little bit about them?
Okay, so we grew up pretty poor. Grew up in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Only thing Philadelphia known for is for Marcus Dupree, my cousin. You know, everybody related. And nowadays, casinos, because we got the Indian reservation there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we grew up pretty poor. And it was kind of like a community of sharing, where you got this person had the pigs, this person had the cows, everybody had a garden, and wasn't no central air. Almost everybody who lived in the community, the man built the house. Like my grandmother's house, my granddaddy built it. So it was on bricks, you know what I mean? So the energy was different, you know what I mean? And the way we ate was we ate like slaves, pretty much. That's what they call it, slave food. A lot of people think that's derogatory. But when you think of those things and you say, oh, you eating slave food, this is why people miss the point. You say you eating slave foods, then how were slaves able to withstand and go through the harshest that they went through eating slave foods? When you discredit your ancestors like that and don't know the history, you kind of discredit yourself, because a slave had to be able to consume minimal food, work 16, 18 hours a day, and live 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years on that food. Meanwhile, what people don't understand is, and I got my ancestry book to prove it, is that most of our ancestors got their land inherited because they slave owners and children died before the slaves. Part they don't tell you about. My grandfather, great, was born in New Orleans, took to South Carolina, outlived slave master son, slave master grandson, inherited the land, him and his brothers. Farmed the land because that's where we come from. We come from farming. In West Alabama, East Mississippi, okay, Central, South Louisiana. So now those generations carry on, and in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, everybody kind of commingled. Brothers married homeboys, sisters, you know, to keep all the land within the families. You know what I'm saying? So we pretty much ate 80-20, 90-10, which is what we call today plant-based. They have always taken our culture, put a label on it, and called it theirs. Sold it back to us. We've always ate plant-based. We've always ate plant-based. As a culture, we've always ate plant-based. It was always 2, 3, 4 vegetables to 1 meat. We understood that we had to have certain proteins to sustain ourselves, but we had to have vegetables to build structure. Where things come into play is the food prep, how we prepare the food.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we ever had fried, ever, was chicken. We never had anything else fried. Hamburger, fried fish, if we called it chicken. For the most part, chicken. Everything else was baked. So when you understand what they call broiling is hydrating. Because when you put the food in the Pyrex and you add the water, you pull the Pyrex out. If you put the Pyrex in the refrigerator, when you go in there the next morning, the water is solid. That water is solid because of everything it pulled out of the meat.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So we cook foods to clean foods. You get clean foods, you get a clean body. The greens, see, the thing about the greens is this. You can't process greens. You can't process vegetables. Vegetables require enzymes. Dr. Sabi never healed you with vegetables. He healed you with compounds. Vegetables can't be processed. My grandmother told us, you can't process this the way it is. I have to cook this a certain type of way. She had to have enzymes. She had to have acids to break down the defense mechanisms of plants. People will tell you that plants are alive. When you are alive and somebody attacks you, you go on the defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Plants do the same thing. They have a defense mechanism. When we was farmers, I grew up in a community of farmers. Like I said, this person had this person had this person had this, everybody had a garden. If I pulled a radish, or if I cut a stalk of corn or a piece of or cane stalk in this corner, the radish, the cane, the green, the peanuts, everything on the other end of the farm knew that there was danger coming. And you would see a white sheen come over. That's the defense mechanism. The plants communicate the way people communicate. If you say help in a crowd, people are going to turn. If something happens to you in a crowd, the people are going to take note. The same thing happens in the ground. When we started harvesting the corn over here, the corn over there already knew we was coming. Esau has proven this in his sciences to make it real. But we've always known this. We've always known this. People who talk about these things ain't never had these type of hands to have to dig peanuts and dig potatoes, shell peas to your thumbs. You can't get that purple off your thumb for days. Bag them, freeze them, because winter is coming. People ain't never had to do that. So when I hear these people talking and they ain't never had to do it, they're going, he say, she say. These are things that we had to do growing up. The other thing is the nutrition. These foods don't have no nutrition. Esau is a cunning bird. He understands things we don't understand. He burned down the West Coast. Y'all think the wildfires are an act of nature? The wildfires are not an act of nature. The wildfires are for the minerals. You burn down the oldest trees in North America. They have the highest mineral content on the planet. You sell these minerals in soil to all the subsidized farms because the soybean and the GMO has wrecked the soil. People don't know this because they ain't come from where we come from. The soils are no good. So they have to burn the forest to get the carbon and the nutrition, the selenium, the magnesium from the oldest trees that go the deepest in the ground to get the material so they can grow food to provide for you. The ashes. So when you understand how things go, you understand that what's going on in this country, you know how to feed yourself. You know how to eat. You know what to do. You know what food, what preservatives are bad for you, what aren't, what to add to your food, when to hydrate the food, when you don't have to hydrate the food. All these things, there's a method to everything. But because nobody has lived it or took time, they're just going off of he say, she say. You know, and you can't do that. See, we was always taught. See, my grandmother we had to get up in the morning and go do things before school. Like that was like crazy. Like I posted a video with my uncle, God rest his day. He's like, yeah, we had to do it all. We had to slop the hog. We had to milk the cows. We had to dig up the peanuts. We had to dig up the potatoes. We had to shell the peas. We had to cut the corn. We had to cut the cane. I come from a community where we really had to do that and where people are still got gardens of greens. And you see them and they so lush and green, there's no defense mechanism. They're not all ashy white. When you go to get the greens and you see that white sheen, that's poison. If you don't know how to get that poison off, you're eating that poison. That's why I was such against raw foodists. You're creating you put yourself in a bad position. You know, these, and I'm not talking about things I heard. I'm not leaning on science. I'm leaning on life, things I went through, things I actually did. You know what I mean? And then when you look at the healers in my community, you know, me and my brother joked at my father's funeral when my step grandmother, she drove up. She's 93, right? She's 93 years old. We standing in the driveway, a car pulls up, and she gets out the driver's seat. We looking like, you still driving? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I look at the people that taught me, I have to ask you about your healers. The people that taught me, they still driving at 93 years old. What they tell me is, hey, I might move a little slow. But I still get there. That's what I have to look at. And I look at the things that they did for me. You know what I mean? Help heal me where, you know, when I got Bell's palsy. Okay. So for people who don't understand and they still scared of COVID. You've had COVID since you were 6 years old and didn't know. They give you COVID at 6. as part of your bout of shots, because they understand that at 7, you're the person that you're going to be for the rest of your life, personality-wise, at 7. So your last bout of shots, they give you the viruses that's going to give you the predisposition for other viruses through your life. They give you this. If you don't understand nutrition and how to keep these things dormant and even remove these things from your gut, yeah, I was trying to figure out why gut biome became a buzzword. The buzzword, the gut biome, a buzzword. You don't know how to remove this from your gut. You start to have the problems, hypertension, diabetes, all the different metabolic problems. They come from that gut. They come from the gut. They put it in the muscle tissue because it's hard for the body, the immune system, to deal with things in the muscle tissue until they get to that gut. Once it gets to the gut, your predisposition. Once your predisposition, environmental stress, things change. When I got Bell's palsy, it came from a virus. I had an ear infection. The ear infection got so bad that it got to hit a nerve and it paralyzed the whole side of my face, twisted my face up, the regular Bell's palsy. They wanted to give me all these drugs. I was on scholarship. I was in college. I was in the dorm. They wanted to give me all these drugs. My grandmother said, "Oh, we'll take them home." They couldn't do anything. My grandmother took me home. In 2 weeks, my face came back. Everything came back. I said, "What was that?" She said, "It was a virus. It was from them shots." The only thing she did was fix my gut.
I know I'm taking all the questions, Brody. Like you just hit on something though. Like with the gut biome. I know you're going into your information what you teach, but the worms, you know what I mean? The gut biome.
The worms.
Can you talk a little bit about the difference between fungus and viruses and how they work?
Easy.
And the worms?
Yeah. So you're all worms. Okay.
I don't want to think about it. I know it, but I don't want to think about it because it's
You remember when I first told you that, Rhonda? You was like, ugh.
And I'm still like that.
Okay, so you got 70 trillion cells. White people have 30 to 50. You got 70 trillion cells, right? You're mostly bacteria. That's what they tell you, right? The old folks call them worms. When you got overzealous, they said you had worms. If you couldn't sit down or if you started scratching your butt, they said you had worms. Essentially what they meant was you have gotten too much sugar. You have overfed the worms that keep you healthy, and they have produced metabolites or fungus or viruses, which is fungal poop. Viruses are not alive. Whenever they talk about viruses, they're not talking about something living. Viruses need a host. They vibrate at a frequency, which is the reason why you have to get in the fucking mirror. It goes back to that. But anyway, it's fungus. Everything is fungus. Cancer is fungus. Everything is a fungus. Fungus poops. Anything that lives, poop. Anything that lives, poop. And once you get inundated with fungal poop, which is viruses, that virus is going to find a cell that it's going to be able to control through vibration. So viruses are merely vibrations controlling a cell. They're not alive. It is the fungus. So what we do is we fix the fungus. We get rid of the fungus. Once we get rid of the fungus, the virus never becomes active. How did Dr. Sebi heal herpes? He got rid of the fungus. Once he got rid of the fungus, the virus cannot inhibit the cell. If the virus can inhibit the cell, you never have an outbreak. And when this is another thing, Esau has never had a test to tell you whether you had herpes, AIDS, COVID. They're all viruses. They look at the blood to see your antibodies. They label the antibodies based on the vibration and say, oh, this is COVID. Oh, this is herpes. Oh, this is AIDS. Oh, this is this. This is that. It's the vibration. Your body don't produce AIDS antibodies. Your body don't produce herpes antibodies. Your body don't produce COVID antibodies. It produces antibodies. They look at the blood to see if you got antibodies present. And COVID just happened to be the virus of choice, the new flavor. But what determines whether these antibodies are active or not is the worms. How good is the worms? Let me tell y'all something, man. I'm about to give y'all some real heavy shit, right?
Like you haven't already.
Yeah, this really ain't an interview. This really a school session. But it's all good.
So let me tell y'all how Dr. Sebi healed people. In order to understand how Dr. Sebi healed people, you have to understand that in order for anything that you take to work, you have to give it life. Anytime you give anything life, you lose life. In order to get life, you have to lose life. Nothing in the universe is going to be for free, right? They tell you that. Ain't nothing for free. Laws of cause and effect. In order for anything to work for you, any herb, any food, anything, you have to give it life, okay? People fail to realize the first thing Dr. Sebi did was force people to stop eating. So you stop giving your life force up, all these no nut November people who telling you to hold your life force. First thing he tell you to do is stop eating. So you're not giving life to anything. You're not giving life to proteins. You're not giving life to enzymes. You're not giving any of your life force up. So while you're fasting, you're not giving up any life force. You have to go get in the thermal waters. Everybody still trying to figure out what the 4-salt soak is. Then he tell you to go get in the thermal waters. Hot. Why? Because the skin is the biggest organ on the body. You get nutrition, the backbone of the body, through the waters without donating life force. After the organs, the liver, the spleen, the colon is clean, so we can absorb our water now. We can get hydrated. After all of the organs have healed, he give you food that requires almost no life force. Mangoes, strawberries, papayas, different citrus fruit. When you look at form over weight and you look at the food chart of your morning foods, you start to understand the healing. Then He give you the herbs. Because now you have the ability to donate life force to the herbs so the herbs can heal. Anything you put in the body requires part of you in order to be able to work. So you got people out here selling things, leading people in a direction who's already worn down. Their adrenals are shot. Their kidneys aren't functioning properly. They're severely constipated. Their liver has these rancid oil because somebody told them that these oils that you cook are good for you. They kill you quicker. Canola oil, grapeseed oil, doesn't matter the oil. Once you cook it, it kills you. The liver's bogged down. Seed oils kill you quicker than liquor. I'd rather you be an alcoholic than to take seed oils. It kills the liver quicker. These are things they're not going to tell you because they sell products. I don't sell products. The reason why I don't sell products is because I got to give you the real information. So I can't sell products because all products most of the products are contaminated. Almost every pill that you get out of a store, it has a heavy metal in it. If you're not sweating, then this heavy metal is accumulating in the tissues. So people who take herbs and don't work out are dying because their body has to donate life force to get certain constituents to work. But these heavy metals are accumulating in tissues that require a different type of hydration. Powders don't do nothing without hydration. Vitamins mean nothing without minerals. Nothing. So people are doing things and don't know what they're doing. And this is what drives me so crazy because I'm seeing everybody becoming successful killing our people. You're becoming successful by killing your brothers and sisters. You got people who mix sea moss, sea vegetable, nighttime food with an antioxidant. Sea moss builds structures. Antioxidants kill things. Why would you do that? Why would you give blueberry sea moss to somebody? You see what I mean? When people who don't understand how this thing go, they just in it for the money and they sound good. When real people come to the plate, things don't look so good. I said this last year. It's really over with. I'm really from behind the curtain. So if you really not in this for your people, because my ancestors done spoke, they told me I can't play that game. I got tons of product I need to get rid of. Tons. I want to do a giveaway. I can't even give it away. Because they already told me I can't. I got to keep it a buck. And people don't understand black biology, number one. They don't understand black biology. They still living off white biology. They don't do no science. They don't publish no science on you. They publish science on Worcester rats and white people. The only science that will ever publish on you is hypertension science to get you to buy some beetroot. And beets are a nitrate. They're nighttime food designed for you to eat before bed. And you got people taking it in the middle of the day.
Sooner or later. Sooner or later. Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come?
There's so much. it's just so much stuff, man. It's just so much stuff, man. It's just it's you know, and this is the reason why I want to stay behind the curtain. Super Slide, Boulder Trainer, my boy Leaf, Clarence, everybody like, yo, bro, you can't, because it's so much misinformation out there. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when I see people and they got 3 million views and it's wrong.
They don't know nothing.
It you know, and y'all hear, like I said last time, we don't even blink at hypertension no more. Like we don't even talk about how blood pressure is not even like a on the radar, because it's constipation. You're not using the bathroom. Period. I got multiple sclerosis patients working out, riding bikes, who couldn't walk, bedridden, wheelchair, walker. They're riding bikes. They're going to spin classes. We're looking at the major things. Mineral deficiencies. The metabolic problems, that's an Esau problem. Diabetes, carbohydrate problem. They took the minerals out of the carbs when they harvested the sugar cane. When you grow cane, and you know the history, you know diabetes didn't present a problem until we started giving the molasses to the cattle rustlers so their cows could produce more milk.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar cane, super high in chromium. Chromium is the mineral that facilitates the pancreas in dealing with sugar. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a little old man. You know?
I hear you, Trash. It's a done data.
My dog got scared. She came in the house. They heard all the fireworks and stuff.
I thought that was you over there shooting them off because the Rams won.
They did?
Yeah.
I knew I thought I heard fireworks. I'm like, no.
Man, I don't know. I don't know where to keep going. Like I said, this don't seem like an interview for me. We sitting here learning, right? So it's a bunch of good information for me. Like it's crazy because some of the stuff on there, like that's one I do. I definitely put sea moss in my berries. No, seriously, I'm talking the best berries around. I got the blueberries, the blackberries, the raspberries.
Yeah.
Shit.
So you putting the sea moss in there for nothing?
Yeah.
Wasting it.
Mac, your picture went out.
My picture went out? Hang on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna straighten it out though.
I'm still out.
Look, yeah, it's still out. But I'm waiting on these books. Because I'm the type.
Man, I'm trying to.
I need to look at the book and I need to read it over and over and over again.
Highlight some shit.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't highlight nothing. That's me. For me, that's defaming a book. Like,
no, I definitely highlight in my books because once I read them, I do it for two reasons. When I highlight, I'm watching so when he come back.
I just want some money, y'all. So y'all gotta excuse me. I'm a little excited.
So the reason I highlight in the books is because if I felt there was something that was that important for me to highlight, then when I come back to it, if I highlight it again, I didn't implement the shit. I ain't learned nothing.
Right, and I know you do that. Look, I'm gonna show you what I do.
Right? No. So that's a good strategy for me. So, and then if I highlight something new, that means I already implemented one phase and I missed something, and now I'm back on it again. Because I don't. If it's a good book, I'm reading it more than once. Oh, that's good. See, you super detailed though, Rhonda. Shit.
I got color coded tabs. I don't write in the book. I don't dog ear. No, I do the color coded tabs.
See, I'll need tabs to know what them tabs are for.
That's the high 99s right there, they best. So I understand, Rhonda.
Hey, I'll need tabs to know what them tabs are for. I had to
Okay.
keep notes on the tabs.
So Max,
what's
we always
even
ask-
crazier? What's even crazier is the way I read books is, I don't know if anybody read books like the way I read books. So when I buy a book, I go through two sections of the book. I go through the table of contents and I go through the index. This is how this free game right here. People, y'all about to learn something right here. Y'all about to learn some this free game right here. Okay. I want y'all to try this, right? When you get a new book, I'm in health and wellness. So health and wellness books may be written a little different. All right. So whenever you get certain books, you can try this, right? So when I read a certain book, I go through two sections. I go through the table of contents and I go through the index. I don't read any part of the book until I go through those two parts. Why? The index, when you go through the table of contents, you get an understanding of the outline of the book. When you go through the index, the things that resonate with you will pop off the page at you. When they pop out the page at you, you'll go through wherever that keyword is, page 1, page 3, page 52, page 79, page 165, page 185, page 292. You're going to go find those keywords on all of those pages because that's the part that interests you the most before you go and read the book. When you do that through the index, by the time you get through all of the phases of everything that you're interested in, you'll have the gist of everything, understanding of everything that interests you in the book. Because everybody buys a book that resonates with them and they want to know certain information that's in the book. Whenever you understand who you are and how you are, those words, those resonance, those energies, those vibrations, they jump off at you. And when they jump off at you, you being interested at the time at that particular thing, you jump to those pages. Now, here's the secondary part of it. Once you're going through the index, you're going to see other things that interest you. So whenever you're finished with the certain keywords that interest you and you're done with that book, you're going to go through life and then things are going to hit you. You're going to say, well, let me check out apple cider vinegar. You're going to pick that book up. You're going to go to the index. You're going to look up apple cider vinegar. You're going to see it's on 15 pages and you're going to look up everything about that. If you, what's going to happen is in no time, you're going to have read the whole book without reading the whole book. So the reason why I'm able to retain all of this information, this is for retention. The reason why I'm able to retain the thousands and thousands of information, pages of information that I got in all these books is that I read it based on the nature of my wants, my needs, my reality. Whenever I buy a new book, I go straight to the table of contents, see how it's structured, and I go straight to the index. Things jump out at me immediately. Like, so for instance, I talk about like every male talks about oysters, right? Every male talk about oysters for aphrodisiacs, right? Well, what they don't know is oyster sauce work better. So if you put oyster sauce on your rice instead of soy sauce, you get to double the benefit than buying those expensive oysters. If I had just read the book that I got that information from, page by page, I probably wouldn't have got to that page to even read that part because the book got real dull. You know, people put fluff in their books. They put filler. They put filler, and then they add a little bit of information. But when you get to that index and you get everything that you're interested in before you go back and read the book, it allows you to read the book. And when I go back and read the books, it's like you already know what You already know what the author is going to say because you done went through all of the major points that interest you. So when you come to certain chapters in the book, you're thinking the way the author is thinking. And it allows you to resonate with the author even more. It's crazy. I don't know if anybody read like that.
No, I'm gonna try it.
Nobody read like that.
Yeah, no, I don't, but I'm gonna definitely try it.
Just try. Get a book.
I'm always open for new
I know y'all got
information.
crazy libraries. Just go get a book, go to the index, and just look at the words and the subjects. Go to the pages, and when you go back to read the book or to just go through the book, you're gonna be like, yo, I know exactly what the fuck Rhonda was thinking at this point. It actually puts you in their frame of mind because you can see things coming a mile away.
So since we're speaking about books, if you could recommend one book, you thought I was going to get on you, what, didn't you? I'm still going to do that. But if you could recommend one book, what would it be?
One book, man, for help?
For anything. If you could recommend somebody read one book, what would it be?
Oh my God, Rhonda, you killing me with this one. One book.
One book.
Okay. It's not one book, but it's one title. Okay.
Okay.
The one book that I would recommend is My Big Toe. It's a 3-book series. It's a quantum physics book. Let me see what's written. I'm finna show y'all the book. Matter of fact, hang on a second.
Okay. I've never heard of that one before. Have y'all?
I know. A lot of people ain't heard of it.
I'm about to go get it. Watch, I'll have it in next week.
Yeah, my library been growing. I remember, boy, we was in that one group. Every time somebody mentioned a book, I just bought it just because I wanted to have it in the library. Because my library for my kids now.
Thomas Campbell.
Okay.
My Big Toe. It's a 3-series book. It's 3 books. It's 3 books. You got book 1 is The Awakening. Book 2 is The Discovery. And book 3 is Inner Workings. My Big Toe.
It's on the way.
You hear people talk about, y'all hear me talk about the act of observation and how the act of observation changes your reality. This is how you create reality, is quantum physics. It's very easy to understand. It's the first book is called The Awakening, book 1 of a trilogy unifying philosophy, physics, and metaphysics. It's unbiased, although he don't give the credit where the credit is due to your ancestors. He explains these things and quantum physics and understanding philosophy and how it measures, how we put things together, how reflection, how you are able to observe a thing and change the energy of the thing that you're observing. Nothing exists until you observe it. When you start to understand how important the act of observation is, and that nothing exists until you observe it. That phone doesn't exist when you turn away. When you turn back, it exists because you observe it existing. He breaks it down and understands. He breaks down the understanding of how the double slit theory changed everything in quantum physics, which is the reason why the mirror work is so powerful. This is how you are able to create your reality through your words and through your active observation. My Big Toe is a trilogy that really gives an understanding of everything else, because once you understand the act of observation changes the reality of a thing, then you can create reality. If you can create reality, then what is out of your reach?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Wow, that's big. I'm on that one. That's my series. Okay, next question. I know you personally. Like we didn't talk about this already. But for the people who don't know, if you can give one stock to keep an eye on, or a cryptocurrency to watch that you've been paying attention to.
Whew. Okay, so for a stock, all right. So as far as stock to watch, you got to always keep an eye on the big three. You got to keep an eye on the big three. There's never a time to get in or get out. When you're dealing with the big three, Microsoft, Apple, and Tesla, you're dealing with the three largest companies on the planet. They're only going to grow. They're only going to take over the market. They're only going to, because they got the most available cash to do it. So you got to always jump in on the big three. So with the stocks, I'm rocking with the big three. Okay, always. Now I was fortunate enough to get in with Apple and Amazon early. I was able to get in with Apple and Amazon early because when I was in college, I had when you're good in football, you have certain people that got, now these athletes get money. So now I had a alumni that, to keep from getting this, for suspended, he said, okay, I'm gonna give you, this check, but I'm gonna put it in a stock for you. You know what I mean? So he explained to me investments, and I was like, I don't care about none of that. You can do whatever you want to do. That's cool. But he opened up an investment account for me, so he got me some Apple stock when it was 89 cents, and because I was always a book guy, I got Amazon at like $2.89 back in the day because I bought all my books from Amazon. Amazon is like thrift books now. It's like if thrift books went, Amazon is the thrift books of the early 1990s, late 1990s, early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? So, as a book collector, I bought a lot of books because of Amazon. Amazon made it easy for me to buy books. So if I'm rocking with you, I'm rocking with you. So I was able to get Amazon real cheap. Okay. Now with cryptocurrency, I'm kind of iffy on cryptocurrency because I think cryptocurrency is a trap. I think all things in the metaverse and cryptocurrency is a trap. Now, I do have assets. I have an NFT. Everybody's seen my NFT, Perfect Form with Marilyn Monroe. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, I do have NFTs. I do have crypto. I've been in Bitcoin since 2009. Everybody keeps talking about 2010, 2011, 2012. I was part of the underground network that dealt with the BitTorrents. Everybody remember BitTorrents and, pirating music and everything, but people don't know Bitcoin was being exchanged back then. So I've been part of Bitcoin for a very long time. I was part of Google. Sorry, my phone runs. People calling me. So I was part of Google before Google's acquisition of Grand Central with the VoIP, where they took over the whole phone thing. I was a test student for the VoIP network, so I understand how they was maneuvering with the crypto way before then. So I understood that it was a trap. Like, people don't understand that the reason why we got cell phones and everything is voice over IP. They tested that during the crypto. You know what I mean? During the crypto era. I really think that there are some places for crypto, but I tell people to be careful. Get your money and get out. So I got lucky with Dogecoin. Dogecoin was merely sheer luck. Being a video game, I'm a gamer. I'm an avid gamer. So, some guys on the game was wanting to make a bet, and they wanted to use Dogecoin. So I went and bought a ton of Dogecoin because it was less than a penny at the time. So I bought a ton of Dogecoin. When it went through the roof with 71 cents, I didn't even know how much I had until I actually went to my wallet, and the shit was crazy. And I thought I could retire, but then I came back down to my senses. It was like, this ain't enough to live off of, but I got lucky, you know what I'm saying, with certain things like that. But when you're looking at crypto, You got to look at proof of work, a proof of stake. Anything that's operating on Ethereum is going to be up and down. But here's the kicker. The gas fees in Ethereum is going to harm some things, right? And as long as all crypto got to come back to daddy.
Bitcoin, dollar. Got to come back to dollar.
You're going to always be better with tangible goods like real estate, land, doing the things like the Turo deals and leveraging credit, different things like that. You're going to always be good with anything that's dealing with tangible assets, because if the grid goes out, you still got the land, the house, the markets, you still got the credit, you still got, because this is one thing that a lot of people are not understanding, is that the money that runs the world in reality. It don't run the world in the metaverse. Nothing is going to unseat mortgage-backed bonds, man. Nothing's going to unseat that. So real estate is going to be a good way to go. Airbnbs, the Turos, things that you can put your hands on. The cryptos are going to be secondary. You know what I mean? With the big boys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, anybody that's dealing with the metaverse right now, everybody that's dealing with the metaverse is going to win. So do your research on everybody that's dealing with the metaverse. Invest in them. Don't invest in the metaverse. Invest in the companies that's leveraging the metaverse, and make your money off of the companies that's leveraging the metaverse, and let those young people who don't understand their granddaddy, let them pump their money that they made, the millions that they made in the bull run. They're going to pump that money into something that's not viable. And when it gets ready to come back, you're going to be the one holding the bag. They're going to be the one holding a whole bunch of problems, because you got to understand how Esau works. He's not going to let all that money go and not capitalize. It's got to come back to reality. If you're investing in the metaverse and not in reality, when things come back to reality, you're going to be left in the metaverse. Because all it takes is one piece of legislation, like I explained in my video. If the Fed, which is private property, I explained the dollar. The dollar is private property. If the Fed says that nothing that's not tangible can be converted into the dollar, all of your money in crypto is stuck in crypto. People forget these things. These are listen, your granddaddy was extremely smart. He's extremely smart. If at any point the Fed say the asset that we have can never be converted, everybody that's in crypto stuck in crypto. You back to the barter system on the computer, pretty much. Because if you can't come back to the dollar, you're in trouble.
Got to trade it for goods and services.
There you go. You got to trade. But see, here's the thing. It's only goods and services in the metaverse. The example I use is Call of Duty. We buy card points. We trade real money for card points. Those card points can't be used in no real life applications. They can only be used in the card. It's the only money that can be used in card. Dollars can't be used in card because they're real. Dogecoin can't be used in card because card only uses card points. You trade real dollars for card points. And guess what? The card points can't come back to dollar. If legislation is passed where the virtual reality can't come back into the reality, once the laws change, like these are laws, remember? Laws of cause and effect. These are not rules. These are laws of the universe. If these people, if Granddad says this fantasy world can't come back and be converted into the real world, people who got $15 million in crypto stuck with 15 million whatever crypto they got, and they got to try to find some way to convert it and hope there's another crypto company that's willing to barter with them.
Yeah, that makes it a whole lot different when you look at it that way.
This could be catastrophic. This could be a catastrophic turnaround, man. Like, you got to think, like, you know, you have to think, like, most of my money is in dollars, not in crypto. Most of my assets is in stocks that have real applications, like mortgages, like iPhones, like Apple computers, things that you can touch. These companies that make something that exists in the real world. I did a video on Facebook. Facebook banned me. My first ban ever from Facebook was a video I did about Facebook going public, choosing JP Morgan, why they would choose JP Morgan, why they was going to come in low. They came in, they were projecting them to be $136 a share. They came in at like $69 a share. I broke the video down and I got banned. That's why I'm the forum runner instead of McAfee and Shadrach McAfee. I got banned from that for that video. The reason why, you know, people don't understand how important Chase is to the economy. We know why JP Morgan is so important to the economy. Why JP Morgan underwrote AIG. Like, we bailed out AIG with JP Morgan money. Like, we don't understand why JP Morgan is important. JP Morgan gave the United States their first loan. JP Morgan helped turn and create the Federal Reserve Bank. Like, when you don't know history, then the crypto seems very, but you got to get your money out. You got to get your money out before they find a way to trap your money. Once they trap your money, you're done. Once the digital dollar is done, crypto is done. That's my opinion. It's all fiction.
Right.
It's all fiction. None of this is real.
Hey, so next question. What would be your message to the youth?
My message to the youth would be, be good to people. Be good to people. Build a network, build an alliance, learn from each other, build each other up, cover each other's weaknesses, because what they're banking on is they're banking on competition, the thing we was raised on.
Sound went out.
People keep calling me, man. I'm sorry, man. People just keep calling me. It took us a long time to get together. It took us a while to understand that we was brothers and not enemies. You know, we raised on competition. It was a long time before I realized I can't compete. I got to work with you. And now that we're saying more and more of us give each other free game, give each other game, we cycle our money, because we cycling our money in commerce. We're forming businesses, providing finances to each other's business, and receiving these tax write-offs for our business. But that's how we're starting to understand the institution of white supremacy. And what we have to do is we have to start our own institution. It ain't got to be black supremacy. It ain't got to be nothing supreme. We just have to have an institution where we form our business. Hold on. Man, I don't understand, man. Can y'all hang on for a second, man? These people keep calling me.
Man, this is making me rethink my whole life.
Hey, honestly, that's how it should be. That's why I love talking to Matt, because you gotta put some stuff into perspective to make sure you're on the right path. Because if you
Yep.
got good information out there, you ain't got no excuse why you ain't making good choices.
And keep you thinking, you know what I mean?
I
Keep
know
that
that.
awareness up.
Man, as much as I think, oh Lord, I don't
Okay.
need to do no more.
No, but you know, but the problem is we don't understand history. You know, when we don't understand history, we make these decisions and we always get left holding the bag. Like we always get left holding the bag. Like we got left holding the bag in the housing crisis. We got left holding the bag in the TPP deal when Bill Clinton sent all the factories across the seas. We always get holding the bag when we think we doing something. .com bubble. We got left holding the bag. You know, so, you know, as we start to understand how commerce happens, people make money through avoiding taxes. The most money is made through tax breaks. These companies make most of their money through tax breaks, and they get the tax breaks by spending money with their partners. They only spend their money with their partners under the LLC or the S Corp. When they give themselves free reign and an expense report that's unlimited as a CEO, as the managing director, or whoever. So if we start to understand how this thing works, you know, we got to utilize these benefits for our own institution. That's just how we got to do it. You know, everybody got to get an LLC, go and pay the $5.99. I know it's hard sometimes. Even if you just pay the $2.99, let the damn legal zone form it for you. Go on and pay the little change, get your corporation, and start spending your money with people and writing that shit off. Because let me tell y'all something. This is a true story. All right, this is true story. Dude called me to get a consultation. Y'all know him. Y'all see him all the time. He's so humble. Y'all would never know it. Called me to get a consultation. He want to start a business, but he ain't got the money. He got the money to start the business. He don't have the know-how to run the business. I said, bro, don't worry about it. It's going to be easy. I said, we're not going to start the company until October, fourth quarter. Starts the company fourth quarter. This might be some free game. I don't know. It might be, it might not be. I don't know. So we start the company fourth quarter. He been spending money the whole year. He starts the company fourth quarter, October, November, December, right? Next year, files his taxes, right? He gets all the write-offs for starting the company, and he only had it for 3 months. Ends up, tax return, some sort of stupid, like 5,000. This is a guy that don't have a lot of money now, mind you. Paycheck to paycheck guy. So he gets a crazy tax return back. Gets the crazy tax return, guess what? He goes get a secured credit card in the business. He spends modestly for the business on the credit card. The bank unsecures the credit card, gives him another $5,000. $10,000 credit card limit. Brand new business. Now you can get inventory. Now you can advertise. Now you can buy things from me and you that you can write off. So now the government gave him the money to facilitate the building of his business. Now we all know you got 5 years to take losses. Should I have said that? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know if I should have said that. Curtis, should I have said that, Curtis?
No, that's all good.
That's free game.
That's good game.
I don't know. So you got 5 years to take losses before the Fed say that it's a hobby, right? They convert you to a hobby instead of a business. You got 5 years of losses. So what I do is I tell people, and I don't tell people because this is fiction. I don't tell people nothing. I'm not an advisor. I'm just Mac. This is all fiction. So what I told myself was, I'm gonna take a loss for 2 years. I'm gonna take a loss for 2 years, while increasing my expenses, because now I'm $10,000 ahead of the game. I'm gonna have, instead of having $3,000 in expenses, I'm gonna have $15,000 in expenses. So the next year, I ended up getting $15,000 back in tax credits, and I was able to leverage that to my bank to get $25,000 in business credit, which allowed me to get more resources and take more trips and write off more things and pay off last year's debt. You see what I mean? So that's how he built his company. And he's doing quite well, might I add. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once he got the company built up, he was able to tap into other brothers and say, look, I'm trying to get you this money, bro, because I need the tax write-off. You know what I mean? I got the credit. My credit is good. He got the, you know, all his stuff together, but he had to take a loss the first 2 or 3 years. But the thing about it is, the part that put him in the game was the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter. Everybody, let me tell you what I watched. I watched Grant Cardone say he bought a $15 million jet in December because his accountant told him that he had to spend more money or he's going to have to pay taxes. So he went and bought a $15 million jet. I can't believe everybody missed the game. I've been giving that game out for so long. We don't start no company unless it's in the fourth quarter. But we work the whole year like we running the company. We work January to October like we running the company. So when we incorporate in October, when we file our taxes in February, we get all of the breaks as if we had a business for the whole year. This is why certain shell companies start in the fourth quarter. This is why everybody starts spending money in the fourth quarter. This is why all companies, if you work for a corporation, it seems like y'all get lunch every week after October. Like they giving y'all all the new safety shit. Like y'all get all new stuff in the fourth quarter because they understand what their budget is and they need to get these things off the books. The same thing with collections. Y'all might get a collections notice in the fourth quarter. You know, when these collection companies trying to collect these debts, they come in October, November, December. You know, you just can't fall victim because you ain't got no contract with me. So, you know, that's a whole nother thing. I'll leave that to the brother, Curtis, you know, Curtis you know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's the reason why they do those things, because they trying to get things off the books. So for those tax breaks. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a strategy that I utilized. I've utilized several times with several different people that wanted to start a business, and they'll hit me up in like March, and they're like, "Yo, I'm trying to do that." I'm like, "Yo, just conduct your business, start your business, call it, label it, buy it, whatever, you know, get whatever you need, what you can afford. I know you ain't. We're gonna incorporate in October, and it's just loopholes, man. And this is stuff I figured out when I got into corporate America. When I got into corporate, I used to figure out, like, why are we forming this arm of this company in October? Like, we don't even need this arm. What are we doing? And I just happened to have a brother who was a controller of the company, who was fire with the money. He was like, look, let me tell you something. We starting this arm so we can get rid of this money. I'm like, why do we want to get rid of money? Don't we want revenue? Don't we want to make money? It's like, nah, it's a tax game. And I was like, oh, this is $1 billion company playing tax games? He's like, yo, that's the reason why it's $1 billion company. Like, so I learned that from a brother that was an accountant for a major Fortune 500 company, and he gave me the game. starting to, and that's what a lot of people do. I think that's a missing mark. That's a missing mark in the game. Like nobody's telling people to start their company in the fourth quarter and claim all the tax write-offs for the whole year in the next tax season. You know?
Yeah, I think California changed some shit on theirs though. Because I was gonna do a business out of California in 2020, and then I decided to do it out of Florida.
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to definitely check the state. Check the state. That's another thing. Check the state. Definitely check the state.
Yeah,
Don't
California, real slick.
Man, man, listen. I've been telling people to get out of California for 20 years.
Yeah,
You should only California should be your secondary, man. It's man, that state, because the thing about California is owned by the Chinese. California owned by the Chinese. People see, we don't know history. Like, so when people trying to figure out the first slaves in California was Chinese people.
Facts, the railroads.
Yeah. The first slaves in California were Chinese people. California owed China a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
like people don't really know. Like, man, it's deeper than rap. Like, it's really
it's history here.
California is a whole nother animal. You know what I mean? So, you know, a lot of things are different in California. Like, there's a reason why you got the Prop 65 dealing with heavy metals in California, because heavy metals affect Chinese people way different than affect black people. Like y'all got to put labels on y'all stuff. Say, oh, this is Prop 65 legislation. Like,
yep,
deeper than rap, man. Really.
What's even crazier is when you go, you pull up to a Jack in the Box or McDonald's, they got a Prop 65 sticker on the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Prop 65. I remember when that shit went into effect, I was like, what's that all about? And it was really about the water, the gray water that was out there, the lead that was in the water, the gray water that they had going on in the rich neighborhoods. And that rich people was pissed off because people in Compton and all the other places had clean water, but they had gray water. Gray water is a clear water, but it has an erroneous amount of lead in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what created the whole Prop 65. Like, now you got to report that everything got cadmium and lead, and it may affect birth defects and all this other type of stuff. But yeah, that was a whole big thing, man. That was a major thing, that gray water.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got the next question. If you could sit down with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Dead or alive? I would sit down with
You stumped?
Man, that's a hard one, bro. That's a hard one. I will probably sit down with
Dang, I got him.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'll probably sit down with That's a good one, bro. That's hard for me because I'm torn between history and knowledge. Okay? I'm torn between history and knowledge. So if we want to go knowledge, I would sit down with Rudolf Steiner. Okay. If we want to go history, dead or alive, Man, it's so many of our ancestors that. But see, and here's the problem with history. Here's my problem with history. Because our history has been usurped generation after generation, it would be hard for me to try to figure out how far back I would go to get history. You know what I mean? To get right knowledge. You know? Mm-hmm. That's a hard one, Rhonda. That's
on that, huh?
yeah, that's a hard one. Damn, that's crazy.
That's how it's supposed to feel.
Nah, I don't even know who I would sit with as far as our history go. I don't even know. I can't even think of nobody. But as far as knowledge, it will probably be Rudolph Steiner or Dr. Kellogg.
Okay, next question. So if you had to relay a message from the younger generation to kind of get them to build the bridge between the older generation, what would that message be?
Oh man, listen to each other. We listen. The problem we have with the young generation is they feel like they're not being listened to. They feel like they're being talked down to. Like we felt like we was being talked down to. They feel like times have changed and they have been afforded more exposure. They get way more exposure than we got coming up. And because they get way more exposure, the world is open to them. And because the world is open to them, they view the world differently than what we view the world, than what we viewed the world at their age. So we have to sit back and listen to what they're saying. What are you saying? What actually are you saying? What's your perspective on things in life? But you know, and the other part of that is we have to be educated enough in the field that they're talking about to be able to have a conversation with them. Like, okay, so a person that's talking about he a gangbanger, right? They say if I'm talking to a young boy and he a gangbanger, and he got all these questions, because I understand the lifestyle and I understand the laws and the consequences of the lifestyle, I can listen to him and say, yo, I understand where you at. You want to be part of. But Esau has passed laws that say that you're a part of, then you ain't got to be there to go to jail for life.
RICO law.
So when you understand that you can be in a whole nother state, enjoying yourself on the beach, come home and get arrested and get life in prison, then being a part of what's that really worth to you? You know, I hear what you're saying and I get it. And you need to be telling your homeboys the same thing. Like, yo, I ain't even got to tell on you to get life. You ain't even got to tell on me to get life. This tattoo is going to get both of us life. This hat going to get both of us life. I just actually went through that with a relative who got pointed out as a kingpin, and he was a schoolboy. And got combination lock numbers. Schoolboy. But association, all it takes is one person to say, I was following him. He was my leader. And they get crazy numbers. So my thing is we have to listen. And then we have to offer viable solutions through an understanding that they can relate to. Like, yo, you really built to go to jail for 65 years?
For real.
Like, you understand that they'll offer you a plea for 15 years, and once you sign your name, there's nothing you can do? Do you understand how important your signature is? Do you understand the reason why you sign with a blue pen? Like, we have to listen and educate so they can see what's really going on. Like a lot of kids don't even see the consequences behind being affiliated. Just being somebody's homeboy. Like not encouraging your homeboy to be better than what he is. Like, they don't even see how detrimental that is to their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? What you see on TV ain't what you get.
Facts.
You know, so we just got to be able to listen to them, hear their cries, and be able to give viable solutions, man. You know, it's real dudes out here. Like, it ain't got to be your daddy. It ain't got to be your uncle. It's real dudes out here that's strangers on Instagram that you know, people jump in my DM all the time. Unc, let me ask you a question.
Facts.
All right, what's happening? That really care about y'all out here, and that'll really give you information that'll help you maneuver your way out of what you in. Because I was just telling me and my sister was just talking. And I said, there's a reason why me and my brothers ain't never told, and we ain't never been to jail. So we might be a little smart. We might know a little something. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't never told, and we ain't never been to prison. So we might know a little something. We might know how to navigate out here. You know what I'm saying? So, there's real dudes out here that really respect we respect the streets, what y'all got going on. We know it ain't easy. But y'all need to hear that y'all are wanted. Y'all are somebody that can be better. You are real without somebody having to tell you real for pulling the trigger. You're really important. I don't care what your mama told you. I don't care what your daddy told you. You're really important out here. Because you could be the next person to create something that's going to get 10 people out of poverty. You could pull all your homeboys out of poverty with one business. One idea. Not many people that everybody's selling shoes, right? Everybody's selling shoes. Little young boy got some shoes, spray painted the shoes, wrapped the shoes, started selling the shoes. Corner on the corner. I got these shoes. I got these shoes. I got these shoes. People was buying them from him. They could smell the paint, but they was buying them from him because he was out there doing something legal. He got a store in Atlanta. 5 of his homeboys work for him, and they all getting bread, selling custom shoes. When you can go on Instagram and everybody's selling shoes, but who cares?
I think you locked up
again.
They're not gonna let me live.
All right, well, we got one more question.
I just talk to the kids like that, man.
Yeah, we just got one more question for you, then we'll let you go. What is the most important thing you've learned over your lifetime or your career?
Listen to your elders, man. Listen to your man. Listen. I could have saved myself so much heartache, so much grief, so much. I could have saved myself so much time just by listening to my elders, just listening. I was just so anxious to be what they weren't. I was just so anxious to be like, I ain't gonna be in this town like you. You know, I was just so anxious to be what they wasn't, that I didn't take time to listen. And I think back on a lot of those days, and I have so many regrets about not listening to the old heads, sitting up under the shade tree, giving me the game, and me only getting part of the game, like getting bits and pieces, you know, because I ain't doing nothing. What you got to say, old head? What you got to say, old man? And they would give me bits and pieces, and I'll be like, all right, whatever, I gotta go. And as I started to get older, and I would be missing pieces, I would be like, damn, I wish I had listened. I wish I had listened when they was offering. Because the thing about it is, y'all can see when people about to head south. Y'all got that discernment. Y'all can see when things heading south. You can see it. You say, man, let me offer you a little advice because I see things heading south. You don't see it, but I see it. Here's what's going to happen. The best piece of advice, if it's 2 minutes, I don't give a shit. If it's 2 minutes, listen. Listen. Most of the gems that I've ever gotten in my life was 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, taking the time to listen to the old head wino on the corner. Listen, take the game, because it's just game. When you stop looking at it like a lecture, it's just game.
It's all information.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all listen to me for free game.
Yeah.
What about Ed? Ed the wino. You gotta listen, you know.
Yeah, you can learn from everybody.
Yeah, learn from everybody. And this is the thing, bro. I learned from the young boys. I learned from the old heads. I learned from my peers. I pay attention to y'all. I see how y'all moving. Just be in a constant state of joy, be in the now, listen to everybody, be good to people, and because you never know when you're going to need people, be good to people, and yeah, just stay in your truth. Anything outside of your truth is a fiction, so stay in your truth, listen to everybody, be good to people, and yeah, man, create your own reality.
Cool.
Man,
Hey, so how?
Go ahead,
Trash.
I was just
for the
tell.
it's on you.
Where can the people find you at, man? How can they find you? You got your mind in the same place mine is. How can the people get in contact with you? How can the people find you?
Yeah,
Let
man.
them know.
Yeah, so you know, Facebook don't like me. TikTok then gave me 3 strikes already. So the only place that you can really find me is on YouTube as The Form Runner, and on Instagram as The Form Runner. I think I'm the only one on the planet, you know, and there's a reason why I put the A instead of ER. I wanted to keep it us.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So Rhonda, you got any last words you want to leave the people?
Yeah, I want to thank him, and I look for whoever is watching this. Make sure y'all watch it a couple times, because I know I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. And I was here, so thank you.
All right, Trash,
Man,
what you want to leave the people with?
Man, I'm going back with my notepad to get into this one, break it down, because this was an amazing interview filled with so many levels of information. King, I can't thank you enough for what you do for the community, what you do for the people out here. Like, any way we can help you is at the your Cash App is at the Talking Fiction, at the $ Talking Fiction.
Yeah,
Man,
Talking Fiction.
Donate.
Yeah,
Go ahead and make sure you pour into this king, because like this information, he does it like unselfishly. He gives this information out daily, and if you don't follow him, make sure you click the follow and make sure y'all tap in, because this king is solid.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thank you to my brother for this interview, and I'm only gonna say interview so we can feel that we was a part of it, right? But this was a learning session. So for anybody that's watching this, like Rhonda said, watch it twice, and you can learn something, and just be open for new ideas, right? If you're open for new ideas, you can always process in life. And this is We Got Problems, where we got solutions, and we out.
From the team at CRC Empire, we want to thank you for listening. To stay connected with us, like, share, and subscribe to the We Got Problems podcast. You can find us on social media platforms at Curtis Martin 247, at Rhonda Wrights Official, and at the_trash_vegan_. We got problems and we got solutions.